Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? This is Dane from NYYU. We'd like to welcome you to the Yankees Farm Report. Los, how you doing, bud?
Well, I'm doing well. How are you, Dane?
Outstanding. And got two of my favorite guys in front of me, and I got Nick with us too. Nick, how you doing?
What's up, Dane, man? Good morning, buddy.
What's going on? Yeah, it is morning for me. So we wanted to get into some prospects that can help the Yankees 2024 roster. Los, who'd you have first?
I mean, for me, I think the first guy, so hopefully he gets off on the right footing come spring training, is Will Warren. He looked tremendous ending the season last year. I think we've spoken about it before. His last, 2 months, the last 8 games, he was tremendous, especially those last 5 games. He was just pretty much elite over those last 5 games. So, like I said, if he continues that into spring training, I would have to think that they're going to give him a shot.
I would hope so. You look at his stuff plus rankings and just how well he did his last eight appearances, you would think that he would be ready to at least get a shot in the
Mhm.
rotation. I'd rather see him than a guy like Stroman.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that in the chat for NYU. I forgot which show it was, but I mentioned that the other day that I would much rather see Warren over Stroman, especially Stroman's probably going to command what, like a 3-year deal.
Two or three, I would assume. What about you, Nick? Do you think you'd go with Warren or would you go with Stroman?
Well, I would pick Warren in that situation as well, man. I'm a big Warren guy. He's really killed it, man. He's been coming up through the organization. But my sleeper pick would be Luis Heel.
Okay.
I think Luis Heel is going to play a big role on this Yankees team this year, man, out of the bullpen and possibly swinging and starting sometimes. And I've been watching videos of him, and he's looked elite, and his slider definitely looks a lot sharper as well.
Hmm.
Uh, I think we've mentioned Hill before. But my only thing with Hill is that I think he's going to be capped probably around 60 to 80 innings. So that leads me to believe they're probably going to keep him out of the bullpen because I don't know how many starts you'll be able to get out of him if you're capping him at less than 100 innings.
That's a good point about Heel in the innings since he's coming off Tommy John surgery. But I've talked to a couple of scouts. He's added that cutter. He's added a circle change. That's a starter's pitch package. Now, I just don't. I love the guy out of the bullpen, but I would love to see him get a rotation spot first.
I mean, like I don't agree with that. I would like to see him in the rotation, but again, my worry is just the amount of innings, how much work he's going to get this year.
Nick,
Yeah, I think the innings are going to be cut. Um, that's why I think that like when we said Will Warren, man, I think Will Warren's going to be better suited out of the rotation. But I just think that he's going to play a big role, man. You don't get an arm like that can produce that kind of talent. And even so, like when he was up here before he got injured, he was killing it. I think he went like what 21 straight innings without giving up a run or something. Like it was
Mhm.
yes,
unreal. So
set the rookie innings record for most scoreless innings in a row or something, 19 or 20. It was incredible. Now, the guy that I have as my sleeper is a guy I haven't been real high on in the past, and that's Clayton Beeter. I talked to a couple people that really believe that he's going to stick as a starter. I've always seen him as a pen arm, but I think that he's going to be a really important bridge between whatever they do in the rotation versus how they balance out the innings. I think he's going to be a 2 or 3 inning guy and being really good at it.
I could see him starting. I could see him starting. I think he has that talent, man. He wasn't given opportunity with the Dodgers to do that, and they really capped his innings throughout. And he finally got his chance to break out this year, and he proved to everybody that he can definitely start. The walks really were, I mean, they were a little concerning, but nothing crazy like people thought they
No,
would. He just got beat up in AAA like every other pitcher did. I mean, there wasn't many pitchers
Hmm.
that dominated AAA this year.
that's a really good point. Now, his
Except for
change,
Warren.
yeah, that's true. Warren did, he just flat dominated those last 8, 9 starts. But
Um,
with
I've been a Beeter fan. You know that we've spoken about this before. But I think the Yankees probably will have him more out of the bullpen since that's probably an area of need for them right now.
Are you guys comfortable with his changeup, or is that still a concern for either one of you?
I mean, for me, it's a work in progress. I mean, I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, I'm on the same point with Carlos, man. I think it's just a work in progress, man. I would say he upped it from a 40 to a 45 grade this
Right.
past year, but I think he's still got a little bit more work to go with it. And if he can, and see, I wish he would have worked out with Drew Thorpe, man. That would have probably really helped him out with that, maybe getting that to a
That's a
50.
good call.
But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not really too worried about him, and I think he's gonna be the first guy up just because he's on the 40 man as well.
That makes a lot of
And,
sense.
speaking of the 40 man, another guy that a lot of people are sleeping on is Yoendry Gomez. I mean, he doesn't even get mentioned. He's on the 40 man already. He
That's
pitched in
true.
spring training. He pitched really well in spring training last season. And when he came up this year, I think he threw two and a third innings, and he looked good in that small amount of work.
Yeah, he did. He looked really, really good. And he didn't throw his off-speed pitch as much when he came up. Was mostly fastball chain or fastball slider. I don't know. He's got three other pitches that he throws, and they're good ones.
Yeah, he threw two innings out of the bullpen, one hit, 4 Ks, man. That was just
Yeah.
very good. I mean, everybody said he's elite, man. It's just staying healthy,
And speaking of, and another thing is they just found out that he has another option in the minor league. So
which is
there's
huge.
no
That's
need to
true.
rush him.
That's true. I think that puts him in AAA as a starter to at least start the year,
Agreed.
would be my pick.
One other guy that I did want to talk about was Everson Pereira. I mean, the guy's still 22 years old. A lot of people are kind of writing him off. They're already putting him in that Florial category. Like I said, he's just 22 years old. He just came off of a season where he's a top 5 prospect, and some people are even, knocking him out of the top 20, which is kind of crazy. He had a small sample size this season at the bigs, what I think 25, 27 games or something like that. And he didn't look all that great, but we've seen this before. I mean, I think it's for me, it's way too soon to write him off, and he could provide insurance.
I agree. It's way too soon to write him off, but it's just hard seeing him getting playing time with so many other outfielders and ahead of him. I,
Uh, I definitely agree with it, but like I said, he's insurance. It's the Yankees. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
yeah, but do you keep him out of a trade package for a starting pitcher?
Uh, I mean, it depends on what the package is, right? I mean,
Right.
personally, I'm tired of seeing these trades that leave me scratching my head. I mean, like I was pissed off about the Juan Corella trade for Kenyon Middleton. I mean, I know he pitched okay for the Yankees, but I thought Corella could have been a very good starting pitcher.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. I was just absolutely baffled by that move.
Yeah, blindsided by that. Yeah,
Just whoa.
Yeah,
Um,
Everson Pereira, man, is the reason that he jumped up so early because the Yankees had a need for him there.
uh-huh.
Everybody knew that the swing and miss was there, and that's his
yeah.
biggest thing is he's got to locate the pitches that are coming in and cut down the swing and miss. And I feel like that's what a lot of people didn't know when you're not big on prospects, right? You don't know what's going on with the kids that are coming up. So you see his kids like, oh, he can't hit. This guy is trash. So and he did. I think the only thing that I was concerned about from him is the fact that he had almost 100 at bats and he's a monster hitter when it comes to power in the minors. He didn't put one over the fence. So
Yeah, but Los confirmed that he was hurt during that time. So I don't think we even got an accurate display of his power while he was up. I
And I
don't
think
know.
right before I tweeted about him coming up, I had mentioned something to that effect to what Nick just said. I said, "Hey, Yankee fans, you're gonna have to be a little bit patient with him because there's gonna be strikeouts. You just gotta be patient, and eventually he'll pay off. When he locks in for long streaks. We've seen it before. He hits home runs in bunches. It's just a matter of being patient.
Yeah, and he can stay hot and locked in for a long
Yes.
period of time. As we saw a couple years ago with him, he hit 20 home runs in a 200 at bat stretch. I say that all the time, but it's true. The kid did. And I don't think we got an accurate representation of what he is at the major league level yet.
yeah, see,
And I
if
think
you go ahead, Carlos.
Again, I was gonna say he's also one of those players where you can't look at small stretches for him, right? He's a player that you need to look at the entire body of work because if
Yeah.
he could have a bad month, but he could have two hot months in a 3 month stretch, and all of a sudden his numbers look really good.
Yeah.
See, I get fearful of him, man, just because the fact that he was supposed to be this elite center fielder when we signed him, and he put
True.
on a lot of body mass, man. And I don't feel like he can man center field anymore. So, and that's my opinion. I've seen him play a decent amount, and I didn't really love the way he played left field. So I feel like his major position in Yankee Stadium would have been right field, and we have too many people that can play there already now. So
It makes sense. Now, when it comes to sleepers, where do you guys see Oswald Peraza on this team?
If I had my way, he would probably be the starting third baseman. But DJ LeMahieu's making whatever it is he's making for what the next 4 years or so.
Yeah.
And I don't think right the way he's played last season. I mean, I don't think he should be playing 5, 6 games a week.
No, but he got that option. So now he could go down. He could, be a utility guy.
So basically, the same thing that did to him this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a repeated last year, and we'll see what
I mean, it's
happens.
terrible. I mean, to me, it's just terrible the way that he was either your number one or number two prospect, depending on which publication you're reading, and it's just crazy the way that they're like yo-yoing him.
I can't imagine another top 50 prospect being treated that way by any other organization. It's just weird to me. I mean, what do you think about the situation, Nick?
see. It's funny, man, because I think he should be up here. I agree with Carlos. He should be starting at the. He really should start at second, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With Glaber possibly leaving next year anyway. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Glaber Torres. Don't think they will, but I that's why I don't want to trade him right now. But I think that, in my opinion, man, he had what 500 at bats at AAA. Finally got called up. His defense is the difference between him and a Miguel Andujar and a Clint Frazier. He's an elite defensive player, so he's going to
Uh-huh.
give you production on that side of the field as well. I think the bat's going to come around, man, and play at the major league level. I just think that they blocked him with dudes for money, and that's what Carlos was saying with DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the bat is going to play closer to when he first came up and hit 300. I think he's about a 275 hitter. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of power there, but I think he's going to be a 275 guy that steals 35 bases for you.
Yeah, agreeing with Nick. I think he probably is better suited, well, on this team probably for at second base. But being that Gleyber is there, he's blocking him there also as well. And Yankees are eventually going to have to make a decision there. What are they going to do? I don't think the Yankees want to pay Gleyber 150, $160 million. And every year you
No.
wait, the longer you wait, the more yesterday's price is not today's price. The longer you wait, the more he's going to cost you, especially if he gets off to a really hot start. And the Yankees have a lot, we've spoken about this before. Yankees have a lot of middle infielders coming up, and they need to make a decisions. Which are the guys that we can see having a future within the organization, or which are the guys that, can help us in other ways?
What about Danny Watson for the bullpen? I wanted to bring him up
I
because
actually had him on my list. I really like him, and I think he could be almost like a Jeff Nelson. I don't think he has the velocity, but
no,
I think he's topping out like around 92, I want to say. But the
92,
arm angle
93
is
is,
just nasty.
yeah. I think he's going to factor into this bullpen a lot more than people think. That arm angle makes him unhittable, and he added that cutter last year that really started to neutralize left-hand batters. And he's another guy that's capable of going multi innings. So I think he's going to factor in to be a big part of the bullpen. I don't know if it's going to be right out of spring training, but he's got an opportunity to.
Yeah, I'm a
There's so
big
many
fan.
internal options. There's so many internal options in this team. I don't know why Yankee fans are saying, "Yeah, we need to trade for a bullpen arm." I mean, I guess they're I mean, and even what are you going to get? You're going to get a project that they're hoping Matt Blake can turn around. To me, there's just a lot of internal options that I don't really see a need for outside bullpen help. Like we said, we have your Andrews on the 40-man roster. You have Beeter. Will Warren may not. Maybe he doesn't start. Maybe he's he fits in the old Clark Schmidt role of six starter swingman. um, Danny Watson, who knows how fast Jack Neely's going to rise.
Jack Neely's another guy that's going to play a big
Yeah.
part of that bullpen as well.
I'm a big fan of Jack Neely and Danny
Yeah.
Watson, man. I think that they're both big time at Double A right now. I would move them both up to Triple A, to be honest with you, and kind of see where they're at, just to push the envelope at the major league level.
It won't surprise me if he either skip AAA though. They're both of the Neely and Watson stuff so nasty that I think it plays in the major leagues right now. And then we also have another lefty in Edgar Barclay that no one's talking about. I know I bring up his name more than most, but he's 92, 93 from the left-hand side as a reliever. He's got probably the best changeup in the system now that Drew Thorpe's gone. That's an effective left-hand option out of the bullpen sometime this year, at least.
It reminds
For
me
me,
of
it's the same thing.
Cortez. That's what he is. He's Cortez. Basically the same equivalent. He's gonna dot his spots. He's not gonna throw hard at you. I mean, I think Cortez is throwing like 93, 94
Yep.
consistently now, where Barclay is more like 91, 92, topping out at 94. But I feel like it's just the same kind of mold there. And I know a lot of people like Carlos, man, is trying to get off of Cortez. So but um I mean, that's what he is, man. He's just a smaller left-handed pitcher, man. That's gonna dot his spots and probably get slapped around. That's really what it is.
Do you like him? Oh, who was the guy that was the left-hand bullpen option all last year that was so bad?
Crook.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I like Barkley better than I like Crook, at least.
I mean, Crook didn't really get a fair shot. I mean, would he pitch 4 games? And I know he got hit pretty hard, but up in AAA, he pitched really well. I mean, I'm not sure um, if he's more of a 4A pitcher, but I would want to give him a little bit more leeway, or as Cashman would say, a little bit more runway, just to see just to see if his stuff plays.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about the trades that we're hearing or not hearing about right now. What do you see the Yankees doing to finish out the regular or the off season?
Me, nothing.
You don't think they do a thing?
Maybe sign Stroman. That's what it sounds like. That's the only thing that would kind of make sense to me from this front office. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't think Cashman wants to part with Spencer Jones. And to
You're,
get any of the guys that the Yankee fans want, which is Cease or Burns, you're definitely gonna have to part with him.
I would agree with that, Nick.
Yeah, I think the same thing, man. I could see them signing still like a Jordan Montgomery. I still think that's in the works, man, of talking or Stroman, something along those lines. Stroman, if I'm not mistaken, has a qualifying offer, does he not?
I
I
was
don't
asking.
know.
I was looking for that because I asked that yesterday, but I couldn't get an answer. Um, the Monty thing is a little funny to me, right? Because you traded him away because you said he wasn't a playoff pitcher, but now you're willing to pay him 160, $170 million.
I'm not. But we talked about this the other day at me and Dayne, man. I said I think that the perfect market for him is 6,144.
Yeah, but he came out after that and said that he's looking for a minimum of the Aaron Nola contract.
Yeah, which is crazy because not Aaron Nola.
No, he's not. But Boris is his agent. He's probably going to get
He'll make him
paid.
there. hmm
That's why I don't see it with the Yankees. I just don't think that they pay him more than they paid Carlos Rendon.
And if they want to go the Jordan Montgomery route, for me, it's be a little more patient because you'll probably get that from Brock Selvidge.
Yes,
Big fan.
big fan of his. And if you guys haven't seen the interview that we did with Brock on NYYU, definitely check that out. Big fan of him.
hmm
But as far as the Yankees, I think they're going to go get at least one starting pitcher. I think they absolutely have to. You can't go
The
get
trade or free agency.
trade, is what I see.
My thing is, I don't want them to trade Chase Hampton. I think Hampton could be a really good pitcher in this league. I don't want to see that happen with him somewhere else.
See, I would rather see Jones go than Hampton.
I wouldn't.
hmm
I wouldn't either. I want to see either one of them go, man.
No,
Especially
I
with
don't
the
either.
the changes that he's making from everything I'm hearing is elite. Like you're talking about a dude that's putting loft into his
Jones.
swing. Yes, Spencer Jones.
Yes.
Like, listen, man, he's got the ability to flat out play center field at an elite level. Like I would not move that for anybody right
Like a
now. I
Kevin
think you.
Kiermaier level defender.
I don't know about that. That's the best
I
defender.
saw I read that they had him watching video of Kiermaier.
That's exactly why I brought that up, is that in that article in The Athletic, they said that they had him watching video of Kiermaier, and that's who he tries to emulate out in the field.
Yeah, I would if anybody, man, I don't know why you wouldn't just show them clips of like Jim Edmonds or
Oh, that's my boy.
Andrew Jones. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, those are
That,
the best
Bernie
defensive center
Williams,
fielders.
even Bernie Williams was a great center fielder. He didn't have the arm, but he was very good out there.
Consistent.
that's all really good points. I've always been a big Jones fan, but I agree with Nick. With what you're hearing this winter, you're not moving him for a rental. At least I wouldn't.
Burns
I
would be a rental, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Burns
I
would
think
be a
so.
rental.
You resign him though, man. You don't go get that kid and trade three top prospects for him and not resign him.
I mean, it's the same thing
Yeah.
with Soto, right? You don't trade what you traded away and then let Soto walk away. Even though I think I was reading Randy Miller was saying that the Yankees might not go to 500 million.
No, you're doing whatever it takes. I don't care if you
Yeah, you
defer
have
payments to 20,
Yeah,
2,300. You know what I'm saying?
and that brings to question my something that I've been thinking about the last couple of days is why haven't the Yankees been creative enough to do something like the Dodgers are doing, right? We'll give you a bigger contract, but if you defer some of these payments, granted the player has to agree to that, but still the option should be thrown out there.
I think the Blake Snell move and deferring some money makes all the sense in the world to me.
I think it's just a qualifying offer, man. I really do. Like, I feel
That's
like the
true.
Yankees are trying to stay away from that this year, and that's what I truly believe. So I didn't know if Stroman was gonna it has one, because if so, I think that's gonna really deplete it. A kid that I really like, and I don't know why nobody. I mean, look, he just had surgery. I get it, but Brandon Woodruff needs to be a Yankee, man. If you look at his numbers, I don't care. You can put him up against almost any pitcher. He's a top 10 pitcher in baseball over the last 5, 6 years. The dude throws at a low three, high two ERA every single year. And nobody wants to talk about him just because he had a shoulder surgery. But he's a kid that I would take a flyer on because he's going to dominate the league when he comes back still.
Why do you think he'll dominate when he comes back from shoulder
I I
surgery?
I just think he's going to be a very good pitcher, man. He's proven it. He's just been proven, period, man. And it wasn't like he slowly got worse. He was still at an elite level when he got injured.
My concern with anybody with shoulder stuff is once they cut into the capsule, they're not the same again. I mean, those guys never seem to bounce back and be what they were before they cut into that.
Yeah, I still give him a shot, man. You're talking about a 2 year, 3 year deal where he's not, maybe he doesn't pitch this year, but in the next 2 years, you may have a legit another ace. Like he's pitched at an ace level in Milwaukee, man. That's why Milwaukee was always so good because they had Burns and Woodruff.
Right.
So you're talking about like a Jarrett Wright type of deal where he doesn't pitch the first year of that deal.
And then, yeah, comes back and pitches maybe the next 2 years. And there's talk that he could still
Mhm.
come back later on in the year this year. Like there is talk that that could happen. I would love to have him set up if he comes back to what he was and pitch in the postseason at an elite level. I mean, I feel like that's big time for the Yankees.
Could be. Do you see that being something the Yankees do, though?
Probably not, but I think that's the smartest move, right? Like that's an intelligent move. Him or Clevenger. I think Clevenger makes a lot of sense too for
I
like
do too.
a 2 year deal. I
Another
said him first.
another guy that I talked to Dane about was Kopech, right? He's coming off of a down year. I think he's mostly pitched out of the bullpen last season. He's a guy that you could probably convert back to a starter, and he wouldn't cost you as much.
Yeah, from the White Sox, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's a trade package. I feel like he still is going to cost you something just because of the talent level there. And I think they're going to try to move him into a starter role. I would be shocked if they don't. I mean, because they let
Yeah.
go of Giolito and Lopez and all those players when they traded him. I could see him coming back and competing for a starter role there. I feel like with the Yankees, you need to get some kind of consistency, right? You don't want to just hope and pray on a potential right now. Because if anything, I just bring up a Warren, right? I would do that, or I
Right.
bring up a Beeter,
Well, that's
you
pretty
know.
much what they're doing with Rodon and and Nestor. It's just hope and pray that that their health remains intact and that they are able to bounce back. And this is a point that I wanted to make because I've been thinking about this for days. And I know when I said it, Pete thought I was crazy. I said, offer Yamamoto a $400 million deal. I know in hindsight he wanted to be a Dodger, but you tell him here's a $400 million deal, take it or leave it. CC Sabathia didn't want to play for the Yankees. He wanted to play on the West Coast, but that money talks, right? So the Yankees, they had to make two moves, right? They had to get they had to get a left-handed bat, and they did that with Soto. But the other piece of that was getting a starting pitcher, and that pitcher was supposed to be Yamamoto, right? But instead, they try to play it cheap. Well, we'll offer you $300 million. We feel that's competitive, and we're the Yankees, tradition. We got Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Derek Jeter, blah 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 blah. They thought that was going to be enough. The guy wanted to play on the West Coast. They offered him three and a quarter. And that's the deal that he wanted. He played the Yankees, he played the Mets, and he got his offer up to that. But if you're the Yankees, and I said this before, you couldn't miss on Yamamoto. You couldn't miss. So you had to offer him a ridiculous amount of money. And I know $400 million is crazy, but if you would have spaced that out over 12 years, you're talking about what, $33 million per year, which doesn't look that crazy in a couple of years from now. And you could have given him an out of what, 5 or 6 years? You could have given him an out clause. And now it's just the Yankees went cheap there. Granted, it's $300 million. It's not really cheap, but what I'm saying is that in this case, they should have made an exception, and they had no plan B. It was like, we're gonna get Yamamoto. We're gonna get Yamamoto. You didn't get Yamamoto, and now you have nothing. Now you're shopping in the clearance section.
I wouldn't say Snell was a clearance section, though.
We
Yeah, but
just
they don't want to go there.
witnessed,
But Snell's not in the clearance section. That's why they don't have him.
ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed the first Los rant on the farm report.
Like I said, you had to make a ridiculous offer. You had to make an offer that he couldn't refuse, and instead you were just hoping that it was going to be enough. Everybody was coming to the table with $300 million. So
They offered the
I
most
don't get it.
average annual value, though. The Yankees did offer that, man. I can't knock them there. They gave him 30 mil a year. I mean, everybody else was what, like 28, 27. So they did give him the
Uh,
most in average annual value.
And the first opt out too.
Yeah, but is that I mean, unless it's something crazy, most players are just gonna say, I'd rather take the security, right? Because we saw that with Cano. The Yankees offered him more money, a bigger AAV, but he took the Mariners deal.
Yeah, players want years.
Yeah, they
Yamamoto,
they
this
they
is his
want to
one.
know. Yeah, they want to know that in my down years, I'm gonna get a paycheck, a huge check.
Yeah, I think he just played the Yankees. I don't know that even a $400 million offer would have made a difference.
No, I think that would have made a difference. Big difference.
That would have definitely made a difference. You're talking about $75 million more than the Dodgers offer, and I don't know if the Dodgers were going to go there. And even if you got the Dodgers up to that, then you hurt them even more, right? Because now you take them out of other. Well, I don't know how much because what is Otani getting, $2 million per year, but still,
Well, it's being counted as like 47
yeah, it's
against
like
the
47 because of the CBT, yeah,
yeah,
or
but
46, I think.
I don't know. I don't think that the Yankees really did anything wrong with Yamamoto. I thought that they handled it about as well as they could. Yes, I would have loved to have seen them give him 400 million and just get it done.
You had to make him an offer he couldn't refuse
I don't disagree,
because, like I
but
said, if you missed, now what? Because there was no plan B. There was
no,
no plan B.
no, there wasn't.
So if you're setting out on a mission, but you have no plan B, you better damn make sure that you're going to complete it.
Do you believe in Will Warren?
I like Will Warren, yes,
But do you believe in him?
yes, and this was the other thing, right? My thing is if they were able to get a Yamamoto, right, that now should take the pressure off of Will Warren, should take the pressure off of Chase Hampton because now they don't have to rush them, right? Now you can
Right.
take your time. You don't need them to get up there in the second half of the season or in the Chase Hampton, case. But it bought the Yankees time.
Yeah, see, I saw a report the other day, man, that said that Clark Schmidt, if he didn't get knocked around like he did in April, that he would have had like a 3.9 ERA. And even
I looked
so,
at that.
even so, though, even if you listen, if he can get a little bit better this year, right? Because it's the first real year he pitched in the major league level. If he can get a little bit better, if you see him at a 3.5 to 3.75 ERA, you wouldn't be happy with that?
Of course, of course. But what are we coming down from? What, like 5.7?
No, he was in the fours.
I think
He
he was
was.
higher than that.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm pretty positive Clark Schmidt was in like the 4.6 range.
I thought he was
I
higher than that.
I think Nick's right. And how many starts did Clark make last year? 32?
30, yeah, 33 games, 32 starts, 4.64 ERA, 159 innings, and 149 strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's advocating to trade for Clark Schmidt. I've been saying, wait a minute, we developed this guy. Can we give him the opportunity? I'm not one of those people that's saying that he should be traded. But then at the same time, people are saying, well, now he's going to slot in as the number three. So that worries them. But my expectation is that Clark is going to get a little bit better. I just don't know how much better he's going to get.
Yeah, he's 28. He's going to
Especially,
be 28.
yeah, especially if he doesn't improve in getting left-handed hitters out.
That's a good point. He really struggled with that at times last year. Do you think that's a pick? Goodness grief. Pitch
A
package
package. I
problem?
mean, it could have been, but I think it was so bad at some points that it just becomes you're expecting it to happen, right? And
That
it's
Right.
almost
April
like you
was
throw
so
your hand
bad.
up. It was right, and I'm sure that at some point it becomes psychological, even if it's not a pitch, mechanics issue. It's a psychological thing at that point. I mean, he was getting his rocked.
Yeah, and
He
April was
did.
bad. It was bad.
None of his pitches were moving. He had that new cutter to neutralize left hand batters, and it just didn't work. He got rocked, but he did
But
get better as the year went
He
along.
did.
yeah, he
Hmm.
found a nice groove, man, and he was able to cut his ERA down. Like I said, to 4.64. I mean, that's really not bad. He was in the sevens, and in April,
Yeah.
he was getting rocked. So I mean, for him to come down to, 4.64, I mean, if he can bring that down to 3.75 and throw 170 innings,
Hell, if he
I'll
can bring that
take
to
that.
four, if he can bring that to four and give the Yankees how many innings did he throw this year? From
159.
Yeah, if he can throw to 180 to four, I think the Yankees would take that.
Oh, 100%. I would like to see him get down to three. He was a first round pick, man. You were middle of the
Mhm.
first round. I would like to see you at 3.75. At least bring it there.
Yeah, he should get there based on his pedigree. I would agree with that. So, what do you do with Nestor? Do you think that he is a starter still? Do you move him into a bullpen role?
Well, he's gonna start. He's gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
start.
those Yankees don't have a choice.
He's gonna start. See, my thing is, man, is that the Yankees are probably looking at it as that last year was a fluke, right? Because the previous 2 years he was fairly solid. And then he got injured, and we kind of knew that he could never really truly stay healthy like that. Because he's a smaller pitcher. And now all of a sudden you're gonna rely on him to go out there and hopefully throw 160 to 180 innings and hopefully get back to that low two because he was at low twos, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the
Yeah, he
previous year.
was.
And now you're hoping that he sticks around like 3.50 ERA because he's not going to get down to low twos. I think that was just an astronomical year, man. Everything was just really moving. But
He
if he can
had
get,
two really good years in a row, where his ERA was below 3, I think.
well, he had, yeah, the 2.90 where he had 22 games, 14 starts, 93 innings. And then he had the 2.44 ERA with the 28 starts and 158 innings. And then last year, a little under five at 63 innings.
So, if he goes back to his 2022 and 2021 numbers, the Yankees are in pretty solid shape. If they're
Yeah, they got
not,
a legit number two. I mean, that's a
right.
two. If not an ace. I mean, 244, 2.44 ERA is ace level stuff. That is an ace level year. He killed it. I think, and that's the year that, if I'm not mistaken, Cole was kind of off, right? Like Cole wasn't
Yes.
what Cole has been, and that was the year that he came up and he was the best Yankee pitcher that year. So
Yeah. I think the Yankees are going to give Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, and Nestor all a chance to start, at least to begin with. I don't know what they do. I still lean towards Shane Bieber being the best option to go get, and as far as either on the trade market or in the signing, because it's a cheaper 1 year deal, and he could slot right into the middle of that rotation behind a Rodon and be a great number 3 for you.
yeah, the injuries scare me with Shane Bieber. That's what really scares me with Shane Bieber is the injuries, man. I feel like this year He had less innings than he usually has been throwing. He had one really good year, which was that COVID year. So his Cy Young, you could have an asterisk next to it. Um, but I mean, look, if you want to take the chance on Shane Bieber, I'm not going to stop you. I just don't know if he's the right fit going forward, especially if he's a free agent after this year anyway.
Right, but would you rather give up Everson Pereira for 1 year, him, or would you rather give up Spencer Jones for 1 year, Corbin Burns?
I'd rather go sign somebody at a free agency and just spend money. Like, in all seriousness, I don't mind trading Everson Pereira more than
Right,
Spencer Jones because I just feel like the fit is more important with Jones for the Yankees because they're gonna need a center fielder at some point.
I
Um,
agree.
I look at it here and say you're gonna spend money, man. Let's spend money correctly instead of trading prospects that are gonna go out there and possibly be elite. I mean, if Spencer Jones gets to a high level of, let's say, 35 home runs, 40 stolen bases, plays in elite center field, and you trade that for Corbin Burns, you lost. You lost. Unless you win a World Series, you lost. Because you're giving an everyday player at an elite level that became a unicorn in center field. If he's a great defender too, you lost because you just
You're
traded
looking at a
away,
perennial all-star.
yeah, a generational kind of dude. So like I said, I think we talked about it the other day, man. There's certain players you have to fail with. You can trade certain people, but there's other players you have to fail with, like Dominguez. You have to fail with him. You can't trade him under any circumstances. Roderick, you have to fail with him. You can't trade him. I think Spencer Jones kind of moving in that category, man, where you have to fail with him and not trade him.
I would add Henry Lalonde to that category as well, just as somebody that you fail with, you keep that kid around no matter what. But I would agree about Jones. But you bring up an interesting point about center field. Do you think that the Yankees need to hold on to him for center field because they see Dominguez as a left fielder long term? Or do you think that Jason plays center field in his early 20s?
I think Dominguez can man center field. In the meantime, I don't love his routes. I think that's the biggest knock on him, and the arm is kind of fringy a little bit. But in my personal opinion, I think he can play there in the short term. He's gonna move over to left field eventually, and left field is the hardest position to play in Yankee Stadium as well.
Right.
So you better hope he figures that out. But at the end of the day, I think Jones is just so crucial because he can play center field, and he's not so big like Judge, where you get nervous when somebody who's dang near 300 pounds is flying around the outfield. Although he can run and he's a good athlete, you still don't, always trust the fact that he can play that for 162 games.
My thing with Jones in center field is the guy's an elite runner. If you read that article in the Athletic, they talked about him having triples that were timed in the same game, sub 11 seconds from home to first base or third base. The only other guys that have done that were Corbin Carroll and Ellie De La Cruz. This kid is a premium runner. So you put him in center field, he can handle all that space and still make all the plays. For me, he's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
I don't even think he's the best one in our system either. That's the funniest part. I don't even think he's the best outfielder in our system in terms of defense. I think that's going to go to Maya when it's said and done. But I mean, he like I said, he's right there, man. But he's a double A, and if he really hits his stride now with his bat, it's over. It's over because he's going to be up here by middle of the year, and now you have a real log jam in center field because that's what we were talking about last show. I know we had a big discussion about it. Is what do you
Yeah.
do when you have Stanton to DH if because he's going to play, he's got to play, especially with that kind of money. You got Aaron Judge. You got Dominguez coming back. Now you got Verdugo, which I think is going to bite the Yankees in the butt. I feel like that was a bad trade there when you knew you were getting Soto.
You didn't
I
like that?
think you're gonna have to move off him at some point, man, because you just have too much of a logjam, especially if you got Jones and Dominguez coming back. I mean, he's never gonna play. You
Well,
got Judge
until
and
Jones
Soto.
and Dominguez are back, I think he's a really
And don't
nice piece
forget,
to have.
they also traded for Grisham.
Yeah,
That's true.
Grisham's good. He's your fourth outfielder, right? So he's gonna play your fourth outfield position just because he's so elite defensively.
Right.
Mhm.
So then you're looking at it. Is Verdugo better than Aaron Judge? Absolutely not. Is he
Huh.
better than Juan Soto? Absolutely not.
No.
Are you going to play him over a rental over Jason Dominguez, who looked really, really good in 8 games? No. Then you have Spencer Jones. If everything is legit, are you going to play him over Spencer Jones? No.
No.
So, I mean, that's going to come back and eventually bite the Yankees in the butt where they're going to have to trade him, I think, middle of the year anyway, especially with Aaron Boone saying that he's coming back and
Yeah, I think they moved
sooner
his
rather than
timetable up.
later. Yeah. So, I mean,
Mhm.
he's going to be back by possibly May. If he's back by May, ready to rock and roll, I mean, now you're looking at a month of Verdugo, and if he sucks, I mean, Yankees fans are gonna kill Cashman. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well,
they're
he
gonna
only
kill him.
gave up Richard Fitz for him. It's not like they gave up.
No, they gave up Judice too, right? The kid that
Hmm.
they drafted. I mean, and they've had
Yeah, I think the
success
sixth
at
round pick.
the
I think he
eighth,
was.
ninth. Yeah, I think he was eighth. I think he was an eighth round pick. But
Mm.
you've had success with picks between 6 and 10. So he might have been the guy that turned into a Will Warren. Now you look really dumb by trading a
I
Richard
mean,
Fitz, who I liked a lot.
Yeah,
Judas was the
Richard.
guy that Grayson mentioned.
That's true. He was.
So
Grayson was a big fan of his.
of who
I don't know.
Judice?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think both Jones and Dominguez are so elite that the Yankees have to figure out a way to keep them both. Or that's what I want to see. I don't know.
I don't disagree. I,
hmm
I I think they both belong in the Yankees thing. I think eventually, man, I think what's going to truly happen is there's the hardest conversation is you're going to get in a meeting. Is going to be what do we do with Stanton? Because that's the truth, and you're going to have to look your owner in the face and say, you know, it's time to cut him because now we have Soto, Judge, uh, you got Soto, Judge, Dominguez, and
Dominguez,
Jones, and if
Jones
they're
coming up.
all very, very good players. I mean, you're set, man. You're set out there, and with the DH position and rotating them.
Yeah, that the question is going to be if Stanton's bad this year, what do you do with him? And I think that you're coming to a point where if he's been bad this year, it's 3 years in a row. You have to have
Man,
that discussion.
I hate to say it, but I expect him to be bad.
He
You
looks
guys
leaner.
seen him?
Yeah, his
What does
body
that
looks
mean?
way leaner.
And
Hopefully he
that
can
doesn't
run.
mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Hopefully he can run.
That
See,
doesn't
I
mean
don't.
you don't get faster at 33.
If you lose weight, you can. I mean, shoot.
Bro, what's he missed like 45% of his contract?
40.
Yeah, I expect more of the same,
That's
I would.
unfortunately.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I think that's going to be the major conversation, right? Is what you do with Stanton, and I think
I would Bobby Bonilla him. I would Bobby Bonilla him
I would just cut
so
him.
would I.
Why defer payments to like 2090? You know what I'm saying? Like we're not.
because
Well, they're gonna
Cashman
have to
doesn't
pay
like
him
to
one
eat
way or the
money.
other.
Yeah, they don't like to eat money, so they'll try to do minimum payments.
Yeah, I let him
I
go,
don't
man.
know.
I let him go.
But yeah,
I
I
would.
definitely agree. I definitely agree. At some point, you just got to bite that bullet.
But if he has a
Yeah.
big year, then what? You know what I'm saying? If
What's a
he has
big
a
year?
monster,
What's a big year?
what? Let's say he hits 260 and gives you 35 home runs and 100 RBIs. Let's just say he does that
Mhm.
for you, right? This year. That's a
Mhm.
decently big year. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I
it's not
mean, the
50
bar
home
is that
runs
low, so yeah, that's a big year for him.
for him. Yeah, right. So, but if he does that, I mean, you could possibly trade him hopefully at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like I would
You
hope
can't trade
that you
him.
you wouldn't be
Where's
able
he
to
gonna
trade
go?
something like that. I would send him to San Francisco. Goodbye.
I don't
Enjoy
think
it.
I don't think what is he, are they on his list? I only know St. Louis.
No,
St.
he's
Louis.
got a full no trade clause.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
team he can turn down. So if
But that's
Stanton
the
doesn't
team.
agree, he ain't going. Why would he go to San Francisco?
I don't know, man. That's where I would send him.
To play with what's
That's
his
where I
name?
would
With
send him
Lee.
too. But
To play with
why?
Lee.
Yeah, but why does he go from a championship, hopefully caliber team in the Yankees
Well,
to
if
a
he does
team?
that, you're a championship team. I don't care what nobody says. If he's
Yeah,
giving you those numbers, you're because you expect Juan Soto and Judge to be elite still. Like you're a championship team if he's giving you those kind of numbers, 100%.
good point.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I think it was I think it was MLB predicted that Juan Soto would be the OBP beater at 425. And I'm like, if he comes up with a 425 OBP, Aaron Judge is probably your MVP again.
Oh, he'd have to be.
It's going to come down between those two guys. I think the MVP is going to be those two and Trout. I think Trout's going to try to have a bounce back if he can stay healthy.
If he's healthy, he's the MVP.
Who, Mike Trout? He's
Yeah,
unreal. He just hasn't been healthy lately. I mean, he's breaking down. That body's big, man. That body's big.
it is. Now, before we get off here, you brought up Brandon Maya and his ability in center field. Why is it that you think that he may be better than Jones?
In terms of an outfielder,
Yes, sorry.
his his defense and his speed are just unreal, and his arm is solid, well above average as well. I think, in all seriousness, I think that his routes are elite, and he's been doing them at such a high level. He looked good in the Dominican Summer League in defense. Like I said,
Mhm.
the problem with him honestly this year was, and I talked to you guys about it before he signed, is that he went to an academy and just got stuck in the Yankees academy. They basically said, you're not going to play competitive baseball against other players like that, except for the people that we bring in. It's not going to be in competitive settings. So his swing changed a little bit. So they had to bring that back and get it back to where it was when they first signed him.
Yeah, he
Um,
started off a little slow. I kept mentioning it. I was like, bro, this guy keeps hitting ground balls to second base.
and I told him too. I was like, "Yo, Carlos, man, just
Mhm.
give him a little bit. The guy just messed up his swing. That's what I was told, man. He's got to work on it a little bit." And came out, and then he started doing better. Like as the year went on, he got a little bit better. And I think this year you're going to see a different kid. He works out. He's a hard worker. He's in the gym all the time. He's focused on being the best that he could be. In all seriousness, man, I think I wouldn't be shocked if next year we're looking up and he's a top 5 prospect in the Yankee system, and then the following year top 20 in baseball.
Really?
I have Brandon Maya as my breakout prospect in the entire system for next year. I think he's going to be the biggest breakout in the system.
See, define that though, because I don't think he's going to be given the chance. I think Lalani is going to be truly the breakout prospect. I mean, because he's going to get
Mhm.
a shot to play all year. I think Brando, you can say, okay, well, this kid just opened my eyes big time. Like if you're talking about that kind of breakout, but if you're talking about a full-on breakout, I think it's going to be Lalani.
I don't think it's going to be Lalani because Lalani only pitched like 22 innings last year. So what are you going to get out of him? What, 50 innings maybe?
Nah, they're going to push him 70, 80. I would assume
Yeah.
you're gonna push up 50 innings. I
And
mean, I could
you know what's
Roderick
funny?
too.
I have Roderick as my number two. I've
That's
read
my
something. I've read something that I about Lalani that I didn't know, and I keep forgetting to ask him. Someone said that he had Tommy John last off season, and that was news to me. I think it was Fangraphs that said it, and I'm like, I've never heard that before, and I keep forgetting to ask him.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
yeah, you need to ask him because I've never heard that either.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw that.
As far as my breakout, I think it's going to be Arias. I think you're going to get him to full season ball, and we're finally going to see what that kid is made of. I think he is going
Yeah.
to be a special, special talent. I think he's the next big thing in Yankees prospects. He's going to fill in that Jason Dominguez hole now that Jason has gone to the major leagues as the Yankees superstar prospect.
Well, Nick, starting at the DSL, I mean, who do you besides you've already mentioned Brando, but who else do you like to break out?
Me? I like and my
I like the Gabriels,
yeah, I like
both of them.
The kid Alejandro, Jerson
Hmm.
Alejandro. I also like Mariano Salomon.
Hmm.
Those are my two kids that like pitching wise that I feel like you could look at and see a big breakout. I think Alejandro, man, when they first talked, he signed, they were saying he's throwing 98, 99, and then he came in throwing what, like 92, 93 miles an
Hmm.
hour. You
Hmm.
know, I think that he just had a dead arm, man. I feel like because he was always throwing in a bunch of games and stuff like that. I could see a year this year where you see him push that to 95, 96. Um, which is going to be huge. And I think that he'll have a breakout. I also think he's got to work on a little bit of control. I think he walked too many batters this past year, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but he's a kid, and Mariano Salomon, I just like that kid a lot. I don't know what it is, bro, but he's just got a bunch of uh, he's a control oriented pitcher, and he's just a winner.
I wouldn't be surprised if Solomon is stateside this year because I think he's 20. I think he's 20, I want to say. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's stateside. Um, what about Jerson? Do you think Jerson makes his FCL debut this year?
I could see him starting the DSL and then move up if kind of like Arias last year.
Kellyan? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, who is the big time pitcher that we have coming back from Tommy John? Isn't that Angel Benitez?
Yeah,
Angelo
he's a
Benitez.
monster,
He's
absolute
another,
monster.
he's another one of those. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Another one of those big dudes.
Throw hard.
I didn't have any of his games because all of his games were away. So unfortunately, I didn't get any. I didn't get to see him at all.
So, do we want to run through the breakout candidates at each level?
I mean, we could do it. Go through
Yeah,
it. I mean, I've already mentioned my DSL. I have my I have Gabriel Torrero, Gabriel Lara. Solomon is another guy.
I love Laura, man. That's my guy.
I'm going to
Yeah.
defer that level to you guys because you know way more about it than I do.
Another guy I like is Jose Castro. He started a little bit late in the season. But in the games that I did see of him, he did look good. I know overall the numbers didn't look all that great. I don't know if you got to see him at all.
Jose Castro. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't really believe in him. The same way
Mm,
that other people do. To me, he's I think he's just like an organizational player.
mm.
That had a solid year, but I think he's just more organizational. But
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the line,
I don't think you really start looking at them until they get to the stateside.
right? Yeah, on the line, they said he did have Tommy John back at the end of 2022. So I
Hmm.
just saw that post there. Yeah, you'd have to ask
From
him because
where?
he pitched. I'm looking at it on Pinstripe Valley. And then there's another
Yeah,
website from Yankees Boat
I
Yard.
thought I had seen it on Fangraphs.
Huh. That would surprise me that he was pitching last year if he had Tommy Johns in
Exactly.
2022. That
Yeah,
doesn't make
yeah,
sense to me.
it doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah, in the FCL, my guys are Lalane, Lagrange, and Roderick.
Yeah.
And I also like Tejada.
I had the same kids with Delgado too. I think you got to add in Delgado, Willie Montero, John
I love
John
Cruz.
Montero.
Cruz.
Cruz. I mean, there's a bunch of kids. I mean, Cruz really broke out big time this year.
Hmm.
So I mean, had 10 home runs. He really killed it. But Willie Montero would probably be like the extra sleeper for me, man, because I feel like if he actually starts hitting for power, it's
Yeah.
over. It's over. Because he's so good just hitting, but if he can get
Hmm.
the balls over the fence, we're looking at a whole different player.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he hit close to 350 all for in the
He hit
FCL
over
this year, didn't
350. I think he hit like 354, I want to say. But I think he would finish second in this in the league in hitting. But yeah, but he was the hits leader. He had a tremendous year. It's just there was no power. I think he hit what, 2 home runs, I want to say.
Yeah, 2 home runs. He had hit
Yeah.
331, 389 on base percentage. So he didn't walk that much, but he also he OPS that 8.25.
Yeah. And I
and
think in
then
DSL he might have hit 4 or 5 home runs though.
and then if you go to the Tampa team, the two guys that I have there are Kyle Carr and George Lombard. I think those two are both going to break out in a big way this year. I'm really, really high on Lombard in the ceiling. I think that if you read the reports about him, that hit tool is just incredible. And he's still just turned 18. He's already 6'4", tons of power, tons of speed. I think that kid's going to be special. And Carr, every report that I hear about him is he's a super athlete. He's up to 97, 98 from the left-hand side, and they've taught him how to reshape his breaking pitches. I think he's going to be the breakout pitcher from that class.
For me, at Tampa, the breakout player is going to be Rock Riggio. I mean, he didn't hit for average, but his OBP was really good. Um, Definitely think he's going to have a really big season this year.
I like Ryan Harvey and Will Bryan. I think Will Bryan's gonna come back from Tommy John. There was talk about him having with being elite in trainings and workouts. And I can see him having a big year coming back from Tommy John. And Ryan Harvey was just a dominant pitcher between the FCL and Tampa.
Hmm.
So I think he's going to be another kid to look out for. I'm interested to see what happens with Roderick and Lombard, though, because that's actually something that I'm impressed to see. Because if they both go to Tampa, who plays shortstop?
I think they're probably going to rotate them around third base and shortstop. Is what my thinking is. Maybe DH as well.
Yeah, that I think they're going to keep them both at shortstop and third base, kind of So I agree with Los.
Another guy, Tampa that I do like, well, too, is Kobe Mayo, Kiko Romero, and I like Kobe. Um,
Morales.
um, yeah, Morales. For me, he had the best season in the class. And I really want to see what he could do with a full season under his belt.
When you get to high A, what do you have there?
I got
For me,
Jackson first. I got
oh, okay.
Jackson. Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Uh,
Every time I hear that name, I hear Greg.
yeah, I got Jackson Fristoe, man. I think like Greg's got it, man. Greg will tell you everything about Jackson
Hmm.
Fristoe that you need to know. But so I'll let him do that, man. But you also got Jesus Rodriguez, man. I think he had a really good year
Hmm.
and he played
That
at a
was
bunch
my
of
other one.
positions and he just mollywops the baseball everywhere. So those would be my two.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
just hits, man.
he does. What position do you guys think he ends up at?
Yeah, everything. He does it
Yeah,
all.
I don't think they're gonna set him out of position, especially since he's moving around third base, first base, catcher, left field. They're probably just gonna give you more of the same.
Kind of he's basically IKF.
Yeah.
It's true, he is. He's got a lot of that in him. Now, do you guys have any double A breakout candidates? Who?
Back at Hudson Valley, I did want to say
Oh,
another
I'm
guy that I
sorry.
like. I like Harrison Cohen. He only had two bad games there. They were blow up games, so they made his overall numbers look not so great. I had Brendan Beck as well, but unfortunately, I don't know how long he's going to be out for.
I think he's going to be out till August, is what I kind of was told, heard, read.
Hmm.
So that's unfortunate. Brendan Beck was someone that I was really, really excited to see this year. He pitched to what was that, a 1.59 ERA in
Yeah.
25 or 26 innings last year. Just the kid's a pitcher. Uh, no matter what, he knows how to pitch. And I really was hoping that he would break out this year and soften that blow from Thorpe because he's
Hmm.
the one guy in the system that I see that has that kind of ceiling as well. I don't know, but
Yeah, that was
hopefully
my expectation that he was going to soften the blow because of the Thorpe trade.
now going to double A, Nick, who did you have breaking out in double A?
So I got Selvidge continuing his breakout, man. I think he
Yeah,
broke out this year, but I can see him going to double A, breaking out and becoming a top of the line left-handed starter that the Yankees need. Him. And I also got Caleb Durbin, but I think he's gonna go to triple A. Um, and I think the Yankees are high on him, especially after sending him to the Arizona Fall League. And
yeah.
Hmm.
he crushed. So I could see him going up there and putting his name up there. But if there's a kid that I could see, he just won the Mexican League MVP, if I'm not mistaken, and
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the
rookie of the
year.
year, which is even
Yeah.
is still crazy, man. But I could see
Hmm.
Jared Serna as well breaking out, man, going up to double A and having a huge breakout and putting his name in there to play second base for New York Yankees next year.
I'm with Nick on Cerna. I've been a big fan of that kid for longer than Nick has.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan at first. I'll be honest with you. But because I didn't think the power was there, but he really proved me wrong, man. The kid is he's looking like a little Jose Altuve.
19 home
He
runs last
is.
year.
Yeah, he impressed. The only thing is he went to high A and just couldn't put one over the fence, man. That was it.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. I'm still impressed with him. I really thought that he did a good job in left field, and he played a much better shortstop than I knew that he was capable of, too. I mean, he looked solid at that position. He's a real shortstop option at double A this year. They want,
And he added left field to his arsenal.
right.
yeah, I saw him out there.
Hmm.
I don't know, guys. My contact's falling out, so I'm going to get off. So thanks,
Well,
everybody.
before we head out,
Okay.
just want to let everybody remember IFA signing day is on the 15th, which I think is Monday.
Yeah.
So you're probably hearing from us again, probably right after that.
Yeah. We'll have Nick back on. We'll have a full list of the signings and
With breakdowns.
we'll get that to you guys.